Hello, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb from DG Reads, and this is my furry sidekick Kylie, and we are here today to pick my July TBR. Let's talk about July. July is an exciting month for several reasons. First off, I'm not at present committing to any month-long readathons, so that gives me a little bit of freedom. But also, I have a vacation coming up. I will be gone for a good chunk of the month, and I am going to Zanzibar with Becca from Becca in the Books and Trova Trip, and I am super excited about that. I'm a little bit nervous about how quickly it's coming up already. It feels like this trip was going to be ages and ages in the future, and then all of a sudden it's getting real. So I have a lot to get done for that. And my time sitting and reading is a big question mark. I'm planning to do just kind of a vacation TBR. You'll see that coming out before I leave, I think, and picking some good reads to take with me. We are going to have a lot of activities, but we also have some nice pools and beaches and lots of time for reading, I think, as well. Plus, I'm spending about 24 hours of travel both directions. So I hopefully will sleep some of that, but I definitely will be reading as well. July is going to be chaotic. So let's start off with a chaotic run of Promptball, because first we have to talk about last month, my June TBR. I did not finish it. This is the first time I have not finished a Promptball TBR, and I'm a little frustrated about it with myself, but one of my books I know I am going to finish. I'm filming this a little bit early, and The Last Time She Saw Him is one of the books I'm planning to use in the readathon this month, so I will be getting to this one, but this one I do not think I'm going to get to. I am on a wait list for the audiobook. I thought the audiobook was going to come through. This was going to work for some prompts, but I'm still about a 2-week wait out from getting the audiobook, and apparently people are not finishing this and returning it early. And I feel like I'm so close to getting the free audiobook from the library, and I already paid good money for the super pretty edition, that I don't really want to spend a credit to get it. And I've got a lot of other things that I'm just running behind on reading this month, so I'm going to take the lose. I also have not finished my short story collection, although I've started it. That was on my Promptball TBR for the month. So yeah, we'll just go with an extra Promptball, which is going to create extra doubles. We'll see how this goes. Okay. I realized I was low on quarters, so I went ahead and grabbed the quarters out of the machine, added back in some of the repeating prompts that I always put back in, and I think we're ready to go. So with last month's not a win, we are going to start with 6 quarters as our base instead of 5, and then add on as needed. Prompt number 1. Green. And the prompt is to read one of my Once Upon a Book Club box of books. So for my Once Upon a Book Club box book, I struggle with saying that, I have ordered the special box they put together for summer for With a Vengeance by Riley Sager, and I'm super hyped for this. It's meant to ship in July, so there is some risk that I won't get it in time, in which case I'll swap something else in for this prompt. But I always love a good Riley Sager book, and I'm super excited for this one. It's isolated setting, but on a train, and we have a woman whose life was destroyed. She has lured the people responsible onto this train under false pretenses, but then something happens. Instead of her getting her revenge, someone outside her control dies, it sounds like. I don't know a lot going into this one. I haven't seen really any reviews yet for it, so I am super hyped to pick this up. Prompt number 2. Red. And this is for Around the Year in 52 Books, asking me to read a book with a weird or intriguing title. For a weird or intriguing title, I'm going to be picking up The Trees Grew Because I Bled There by Eric LaRocca. This is a book that I actually received from Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy for winning one of her readathons in her Patreon, and it's one that I'm really excited for. I've had some really big wins from Eric LaRocca, some that were not necessarily favorites, but I am super excited for this one. It's short. It's 8 short stories, I believe, and horror short stories are definitely something I'm in the mood for, so I'm excited to finally be reading this one. Number 3. Green, so our first duplicate. And this one also is for Around the Year in 52 Books, and it is for a book that involves digging up the past. For a book that involves digging up the past, I am going to pick up My Friends by Frederick Bachman, and this is an author I truly enjoy and absolutely have adored several of his books. They tend to cause heartache and pain and potentially tears, but I don't really know too much going into this one other than I know people who have loved it. We've got a painting that has a couple of figures at the end of the pier you could almost not realize are there, but one of our main characters, it sounds like, knows they're there and wants the story behind it. And then the 2 decades before, there's a group of teenagers who are spending time on a pier. I'm assuming this ties together. So we've got a main character in the more present day looking for answers of what happened in the past. So I definitely think this suits the prompt. Number 4, Red. So another double. And this one is to read an indie book. For an indie book, I decided to go with an indie horror, and it's one I'm really eager to pick up, and that is On a Clear Day You Can See Block Island by Gage Greenwood. This is one I received from Twisted Retreat, so it is a nice special edition. Got a map on there and naked hardcover as well. My recollection of this is we've got a family that spent time on Block Island, but something traumatic happened and they need to confront the past, possibly. I don't actually know. The blurb in here just says they left the island, but the island never left them. Number 5. Red again. This is going great. Super, super great. Another one for Around the Year in 52 Books, and this is for a book that is not a novel, which I think should be pretty easy. For a book that isn't a novel, I'm going to go with Toni Morrison's The Source of Self-Regard. This is a collection of essays and speeches and meditations, and I received a gifted copy of this from Vintage. Toni Morrison is an author that I have absolutely loved. I was assigned her, or I chose her rather, in high school. We had to pick an author to kind of deep dive into their works and present on to our class, and Toni Morrison was my author of choice, and thankfully I fell in love with her books, with her writing in general. I haven't really read much of her nonfiction, so I'm excited to get into this one. And then our punishment coin, yellow. At least it's not another double. And it's an easy enough prompt. It is to read a new to me author. For a new to me author, I decided to do myself a favor and go with something relatively short, and that is Antinora by Dory Lumpkin. And this is a special edition, again, I received from Twisted Retreat. It's signed on the inside. I really don't know much about this at all. There's snakes on the cover. That's truly all I know about it. Other than it's short, there's no ebook or audiobook, so I think this will be a fun one just to kind of sit and binge and hopefully enjoy. All right, we got 2 extra reds and an extra green, so we need 3 more coins, but we're not counting any more doubles from here. Purple, not that it matters, but... All right, I have a friend pick. For a friend pick, my friend Nat helped me out. She requested to know what my most recent book hauls were, and I went ahead and sent her both my most recent book of the month box and also some of the recent book mail I've received. And the book she picked for me was The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. This is one I'm super excited to get into. I love bookish related books. I think it's one that's going to grab my attention, hopefully, and hold on. And I'm really excited that she picked this. In 1975, there was a horrible fire. 2 siblings wind up dead and only one survives. He's the subject of a lot of accusations that he's the one who caused his siblings to die, and he becomes a horror writer, which just fans the flames. His daughter has kept very secret that she's his daughter, but she's a ghostwriter, and she gets offered the opportunity to ghostwrite his final book where he's looking to finally tell the truth. And this sounds so intriguing. I'm very excited to pick this up. And then our second double. It's also yellow. This is the month of catching up on Around the Year in 52 Books, apparently, because we have another ATY, and it is to read a book set in a fictional place. Not a problem. And then I got a book set in a fictional world. And for someone who reads fantasy, this should have been a lot easier. I had a hard time kind of narrowing down what I wanted. A lot of the books I had on my radar for July are more real world turned fantasy, alternate realities, those types of things. So this was a little more challenging than I thought it would be. But I think what I'm going to go for is Throne of Ice and Blood by Marianne Blackwood. This is the second book following Empire of Flame and Thorns, and the third book is coming out very, very soon. I think next week as I'm filming this maybe, or last week as I'm filming this maybe, who knows. Anyway, it's soon. So I loved the first book. It was not by any means the best piece of literature I've ever read, but I had such a fun time. It was definitely a high vibes read, and I've been wanting to go back to it because the ending certainly brought us a twist. And I believe we're changing settings in book 2, if I'm remembering correctly, but either way, it's a fantasy world as far as I recall. I'm hoping that's true. I know a few of the things I'm going to have on my vacation TBR, including this one possibly, are going to be set in fantasy worlds, so either way, I'm going to hit this prompt. And hopefully last and hopefully not least, we have a final red one. Again, from Around the Year 52 Books, a haunting read. And then for my final prompt, I got a haunting book. And for this one, I'm going to put on Darcy Coates with The Vengeful Dead. This is the final book in the Graveskeeper series, and I was meant to read it in June and just didn't get to it. So it fits perfectly for this prompt. I've really been enjoying this series. It's kind of ghost whisperer / cozy horror / an overarching plot, even as each book kind of has its own thing going on. And I've been having a lot of fun with these. I've been procrastinating the final book a little bit just because I'm not ready for it to be over. And I feel like I'm running out of Darcy Coates books. I need her to, write 3 or 4 a year. Well, what's wrong with that? But this one will wrap up the series. We're following a young woman who can see ghosts. And she starts the series with amnesia. She doesn't really know where she's coming from. She winds up taking a job working at a cemetery where there's plenty of ghosts to interact with. And there are a couple of quirky friends. It's just a lot of fun. So a perfect book to add on here. So with a couple of placeholders in the mix, this is what my Promptball part of my TBR is looking like currently. But of course, there is always more. So even though I'm going to be gone a chunk of July, I am still going to be participating in some reading challenges and readathons. The first one of July will be Summerween. This is hosted by Gabby, and it is occurring in the week leading up to my vacation. I think what I'm going to do is start a day early since I need to finish this up before I hop on a plane and see how far I can get before I leave town. But I love Summerween. I love anything that brings thrillers and horrors into summer. I read them during the summer anyway, but I love the focus that this gives. Breaking back in here because my plans to not participate in any month-long readathons were quickly thrown out because shortly after I finished filming my TBR, Lexi from Books with Lexi forced me, okay, she didn't force me, but I'm still gonna blame her, led me to watch the announcement video from Deja at Deja's Book World for the Tarot Readathon, and Lexi is one of the co-hosts for this for Team Swords, so I have decided to go ahead and sign up for this readathon. I'm going to be playing in chill mode and just trying to do as much as possible without having to add a lot of extra books to my TBR for the month. But with the amount of books on my TBR, I feel like there's a good chance I'm going to be able to fit things in to match the prompts. So I wanted to go ahead and add that in here. And I think what I'm going to do is just pull my first 3 cards. I'm not super well versed on tarot. Tarot is not something I pay attention to, but readathons certainly are. So let's see what my first 3 cards are, what the prompts are for those. Hopefully maybe I can fit something in that I'm already planning to read for the month. We'll see. I will do the best I can this month to support Team Swords and keep up with everything that's going on. But this is definitely a readathon where you can go hard mode or take it as it comes and go a little bit easier. So I have good confidence that I'll be able to support the team without going overboard. Maybe. We'll see. I found a tarot app that will work on my phone that I think will work to screen capture, and it allows a 3-card spread. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick 3 cards and then see what prompts these line up to. Okay, screen recording. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 cards. Okay, we've got the Devil, always a good place to start. We've got 6 of Pentacles, and we have a reverse Page of Wands. I don't think reverse really matters in here, but let's see what these prompts are. Okay, I think I have it figured out. For the Devil, you are meant to read a book with mixed reviews. A book that wasn't on my official Promptball TBR or anything, but one that I did plan to read for a video is The Last Fairy Out by Andrea Bartz. I've seen some good reviews. I've seen some very low reviews. I definitely think this suits the prompt. For the 6 of Pentacles, the prompt is to read a book you've been gifted, and I am reading The Trees That Grew Because I Bled There by Eric LaRocca. This is one that I received from Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy, and therefore it works for the prompt. For the Page of Wands, the prompt is to read something out of your comfort zone. And looking at my TBR for this month, I don't really have any plans to read anything that I would consider outside of my comfort zone currently. And honestly, this is one of those prompts that I struggle with purely because I read such a huge variety. So I'm going to use the team's special power, which is if you get a prompt that you don't want to read, you can swap it for the equivalent Swords prompt. So the Page of Swords prompt is to read a book about books. And for that, I have The Ghost Writer by Julie Clark, because we've got authors writing books in here. So that worked out pretty well for me. I'm pretty thrilled that I didn't have to add anything to my actual plans for the month. And then as I start finishing books, I'll do like I do for quite a few readathons, and kind of as I finish a book, pull something new and go from there, see what else happens in the chaos that may ensue. I don't really know. This is my first time doing this readathon. So with that, I will send you back to earlier me and the rest of the video. I will also be joining in with the 52 Book Club's Connections Challenge. This is a summer reading challenge that they've put out that just sounds like a lot of fun. It's a lot like the scavenger hunt you see people doing to pick a book, and it's something I'm going to go ahead and vlog throughout the next couple of months. I get to pick whatever book I want to start with, and the one I was the most hyped to pick up is Frederick Bachman's My Friends. So I'm glad I was able to get this into my Promptball TBR as well. This will be the book that I start with, and my first installment of the challenge vlogs should come out in later July. I will also be starting the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, 2.0, Herked as it is known by Q, and I am looking forward to this. This is going to be my first year participating. I am planning to do a little bit of a TBR video for that coming relatively soon, so be on the lookout for that. I don't have anything specifically lined up yet for what I'm going to be tackling in July to hit prompts for that, but some of my books here certainly will work for various parts of the challenge. For my personal challenges and goals of the year, I always like to get a nonfiction and a short story collection in each month, and I have hit that with the Toni Morrison essay collection and the Eric LaRocca short stories. So I did some double duty there. And I am also participating in Readathon, which is brought to us by Kayla at Books and Lala. So for the title, I need a title with punctuation in it. And on a clear day, comma, you can see Block Island will work for that. And then I did have to add a book for a book with technology on the cover. And I'm going to pick up Two Truths and a Lie by Corey O'Brien. I received a gifted copy of this from Pantheon Books. And the bug on the cover is very much metallic and has some obvious joints in it. So I am interpreting that as a technology bug. So this one is about a near future Los Angeles. We're following an aging combat drone veteran, and it is a world where information is valuable. He's a drone operator. He gets information. I don't know anything beyond that, but this cover has had me intrigued since I got it in my hands. And then, of course, I have a lot of buddy reads to get to as well. My classics buddy read group, we are going to be reading Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. This is going to be our July and August book because it is rather sizable from what I remember. And it is one that I'm probably not going to get to starting until late July. It's probably going to be more of an August focus for me personally, just because of vacation. I don't think this is the book I want to take to read by the pool, but I am looking forward to reading this classic. And then at the end of July, I believe it's July 27th, we are going to be doing the live show for the final book in the first quartet of books of Faith Follow Along, and that is Wrath by John Gwynne. I am going to be taking this on my Kindle with me on vacation probably because I'll only have a week to read it after I get back, and it's not a teeny tiny book, so I probably might start reading it on the plane coming home, so I'm not reading it when I get back from Zanzibar with jet lag and be totally clueless come the live show. But I'm super excited to be reading this. I'm enjoying the series so much and have high hopes for the final book. And then a couple of buddy reads I'm doing with friends. The first of those is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. This is the author who wrote Piranesi, which I really enjoyed, but also that makes me nervous because I've heard people love one and don't love the other, and that has me a little worried. It's also over 1,000 pages, so that's scary as well. But I'm going to be reading it with friends, and we're doing like a chunk a day type of a strategy for this, so we can all take it on together. I will hopefully have a Kindle copy to take with me on vacation so I can keep up and not fall too behind everyone else, but I am really looking forward to it. The other book that I'm definitely prioritizing for July is My Salty Mary. This is by Brody Ashton, Cynthia Hand, and Jody Meadows, and this is the next installment in their Marys series, and they had 3 Janes, and then now they're doing 3 Marys, and I really enjoy the humor in these. They're always great on audio, and I'm really looking forward to picking this next one up. This one is set at sea. That's really all I remember about it. I think there may be sirens involved. I could be making that up. You never know, but eventually I will find out. And then I do have a few arcs that I also want to get to in July. I have The Lighthouse at the End of the World by J.R. Dawson. This one has to do with kind of a way stop for spirits on their way out of this world, as I understand it. This one is out in July, I believe. I have The Deathless One by Emma Hamm. This one is out at the very beginning of August. I don't know much about this one either, but it says it is slow burn and a badass princess wielding black magic. So I have an arc for a nonfiction coming out on July 15th, and that is Algo Speak by Adam Alexic, and this is about algorithms and how it's impacting our communication today. Another one coming out at the beginning of August is The Wrong Sister by Claire Douglas. This is an author that I've enjoyed her thrillers before, so I'm hoping for good things from this one. And then coming out July 8th, I've got The Woman in Suite 11 from Gallery Books, and this is the sequel to The Woman in Cabin 10. Don't know much beyond that, but I am intrigued to try it out. And then a July 29th release, I have Charlie Dunlea's Guess Again. This is a gifted copy from Kensington, and this is an author I've really enjoyed in the past, so I have high hopes for this one. So with all of that, I think I've got my hands full for July. That said, I am going to do a TBR for my vacation, which might have some overlap with some of these, but definitely is going to be about stuffing my Kindle full of KU and library books. And I will be bringing you an additional TBR when I do my Summerween vlog, and probably some more book ideas when I look at my Herkid TBR. So I have a lot of plans, and I love planning. I love reading also, so hopefully my reading can keep up with my planning. Let me know in the comments below, are you participating in any readathons for July? Are you reading any of these same books as me? Or what are you looking forward to reading in July the most? And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, leave me an airplane emoji, because honestly what I'm most excited about for July is taking off for Zanzibar. If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it, and subscribe for more Promptball TBR for my thoughts on these books or my bookish content in general. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.